The entire direction of your life now stands before an important choice. And I am calling you to pause, not to plant fear, but to help you recognize what can no longer be postponed. You have passed through too many days in a scattered state, longing for change while doubting your own ability, desiring to move forward while fearing the loss of what is familiar. But my beloved child, there comes a time when standing still is no longer safety, but the way you keep yourself outside, a door that has already opened. This moment is an invitation to look deeply into your life. Identify what has expired, what needs healing, and which step you have known for a long time that you must take. I am not asking you to panic or act without thought. I only want you to stop avoiding the truth that has become increasingly clear within your heart. I recognize the light within you before you understood your own value. During the years when you depended upon other people's opinions to know who you were, I still saw the qualities that had not yet been revealed. I saw compassion beneath your sensitivity, strength beneath the moments when you trembled, and a voice capable of strengthening others even though you once feared speaking. You were not chosen because you were perfect, nor because you were greater than anyone else. You were called because you passed through pain and still preserved kindness, were underestimated but refused to let bitterness rule, and fell many times yet still found a way to rise. Those seemingly small things proved that within you was a foundation strong enough to carry greater responsibility. For a long time, you have felt an urging difficult to put into words. Some places that once made you feel that you belonged now feel narrow. Former conversations no longer nourish you. Goals that once occupied your mind have gradually lost their attraction. You may think you are becoming inconsistent, but in truth, your awareness is expanding. You can no longer live peacefully inside patterns that required you to become smaller. Remain silent and accept less than what is healthy. The inner calling is not telling you to run far away or change everything in one night. It is simply reminding you that you have grown too much to remain within a way of living that continually requires you to betray truth. Listen to that prompting with awareness, because it is pointing toward a more truthful version of yourself waiting for you to enter. You stand before a crossroads, but the choice is not merely between two outward roads. It is also a choice between continuing to live through fear and moving according to the discernment that has been refined within you. You can continue waiting until everyone agrees. Circumstances become perfect, and you no longer feel afraid. But if you wait for absolute certainty, you may spend many more years outside what you are already ready to begin. Courage does not mean the absence of anxiety. It means deciding to do what is right, even while questions remain within. I do not require you to see the whole road. I ask only that you remain faithful to the step illuminated before you. Because many doors reveal what lies behind them only after you trust enough to cross the first threshold. The struggles you experienced were not wasted. Every rejection helped you understand that true value cannot be granted or removed by the eyes of the world. Every delay taught you to distinguish between what you wanted immediately and what was truly suitable. Every separation helped you see who loved only what you could give and who sincerely valued your presence. The nights you lay awake wondering whether you had enough strength to continue quietly taught you that strength is sometimes simply the decision not to give up that day. You do not need to call pain good, but you can recognize the good formed through the way you overcame it. What once felt like a fire trying to consume you ultimately revealed an endurance you did not know you possessed. I am rewriting your story. But this renewal does not mean the past will be erased. as though it never existed. It means what happened will no longer possess the authority to determine the ending. Dreams you once buried may awaken again in a more mature form. Wounds that once controlled the way you loved will gradually become wisdom, helping you establish boundaries. Doors you believed permanently locked may be replaced by roads more suited to you, where you do not need to lose dignity in order to enter. Do not force everything to return to its original shape. Sometimes restoration is not receiving the old thing again, but being given something better until you understand why the former road had to close. Your mission does not need to appear loud in order to be important. Perhaps you are called to end a cycle of pain that has continued for generations. Build a home where respect replaces fear, or become a calm voice within an environment filled with confusion. Perhaps your experience will help someone in despair realize that they can still begin again. A timely word, an upright decision, or a boundary established in love can sometimes change an entire path. Do not seek only work so great that the world must notice it. I measure the meaning of your life through faithfulness to what is good, even when no one knows, through the way you treat those who cannot repay you, and through your ability to preserve a pure heart when you could easily choose a simpler road. Your life does not concern only you, because the way you heal, choose, and walk will influence those near you. When you stop accepting disrespect, you teach your family that love does not mean endless endurance. When you dare to begin again, you open hope for someone who believes it is too late. When you use your voice to build rather than destroy, the atmosphere around you also begins to change. People you have never met may one day benefit from your work, experience, or courage. Therefore, refusing to live forever within old limitations is not selfish. As you become healthier, what you create also becomes healthier, and that influence will travel farther than your eyes can presently see. Even so, I do not want you to turn the calling into a burden, requiring you to remain strong at all times. You are not responsible for rescuing everyone, nor do you need to empty yourself to prove that your life has purpose. You are permitted to rest, seek help, and admit that some days you do not know what to do. Genuine mission does not crush the one carrying it. It teaches you to live with order, care for your health, protect your attention, and give from fullness rather than exhaustion. Learn to say no to what scatters you. Establish boundaries before demands that do not belong to you. And stop feeling guilty for needing quietness. You cannot become a source of light if you continually allow others to drain the oil from your lamp. I also want you to be careful with promises that make you feel pressured to decide in panic. What is sacred does not use fear to force you, nor does it demand an outward sign to prove readiness. A genuine response is revealed through life, by completing what you postponed, leaving what is no longer healthy, apologizing when you are wrong, and courageously beginning with one small step. You do not need to create a dramatic moment. Take a sheet of paper. Write clearly what you know must change. Choose one thing you can do today, and remain faithful to it. One small decision sustained through discipline carries more power than many grand declarations quickly forgotten. My beloved child, what is at stake is not my love for you, because that love does not disappear when you move slowly or make mistakes. What can be lost is the time you continue giving to fear. The years you could have lived fully, but spent waiting for another person's permission. Therefore, I call you to awaken. not to tremble, but to remember that your life is precious and should not remain buried beneath doubt. Lift your head. Restore order to what is confused. Return burdens that do not belong to you, and move toward what you know is true. The future is not determined by a comment, a number, or one emotional moment. It is formed through the wise choices you repeat every day. Now walk with the humility of someone who knows there is still much to learn, but also with the steadiness of someone who no longer denies the gifts entrusted. You do not need to prove that you are extraordinary. You only need to remain faithful to the light within. When you do this, your story will begin to change direction, not only through outward events, but because you are no longer someone led by circumstances. You will become someone who knows how to choose, build, and transform what once caused pain into understanding for others. This is your moment, not because everything will be completed today, but because today you can decide to stop delaying the person you are called to become. I am beside you in that first step, even in the awkward steps that follow. And I will continue reminding you that the greatest thing is not whether the world is astonished by your life, but whether the light you preserve helps those around you find a road out of darkness. Overcoming your greatest trial does not mean that you emerged without being wounded. It means that amid every form of brokenness, you still chose faith over fear, love over bitterness, and hope over despair. I saw the moments when you no longer had enough strength to appear strong, the nights when you cried in silence, and the mornings when you had to gather every fragment of courage merely to continue. You questioned, became confused, and at times could barely understand why you had to face such a difficult road. But that weariness did not mean you failed. Those questions did not make your faith less valuable. True victory is not found in never becoming unstable, but in finding your way back to light after every moment of instability and refusing to let pain make your heart a dwelling place for hatred. You did not pass through the storm with cold perfection. You passed through with tears, mistakes, and the decision to rise while your legs were still trembling. There were days when you responded without wisdom, spoke out of pain, or tried to hold what needed to be released. But then you learned to look again, accept responsibility, and choose differently. This is maturity. I never required you to live without mistakes. I ask that you do not make a home inside them. Every time you become honest about what needs correction, discernment grows deeper within you. Every time you ask forgiveness, forgive yourself, and continue, another part of the former burden falls away. You did not win by doing everything correctly from the beginning. You won because you never stopped returning to what was true. The fire you passed through did not come to erase who you are. It exposed fears that had quietly controlled you, insecurities that continually sought approval, and distorted beliefs that caused you to see yourself as small. At times you believed everything was being taken from your hands, but many things were actually being separated so that you would no longer depend upon fragile supports. Praise can change. People can leave. Plans can collapse. And what seems certain can disappear. If all your peace is placed in these things, every change becomes an earthquake. Therefore, I led you toward a deeper foundation where your value does not rise through praise and does not decrease through misunderstanding. The difficult months refined the way you see yourself. In former days, You easily used failure as proof that you lacked ability, rejection as proof that you were unworthy, and delay as proof that the future had forgotten you. Now you understand that one unfavorable result is part of the journey, not a verdict over your entire life. You have learned to view a closed door more calmly, to ask what must be learned and which direction needs adjustment. You no longer need to keep striking the same entrance merely because you spent too much time standing before it. You can be grateful for the lesson and leave, carrying maturity rather than resentment. The victory you are entering is not merely one moment of relief after hardship. It is a turning point in the way you live. You are no longer someone who easily loses peace because circumstances do not unfold as expected. Neither do you give every form of authority to the first emotion that appears. When something unexpected happens, you are learning to pause, breathe, and see through clearer eyes. When wounded, you no longer immediately build walls or respond from your own pain. You are learning to speak truth without humiliating another person. Establish boundaries without feeding hatred, and leave what is unhealthy without turning those who remain into enemies. I renewed you not by removing every memory, but by taking away its power to rule. You still remember what happened, but you no longer have to relive it every day. You can speak of the past without feeling the same heaviness in your chest. You can face a similar circumstance without instantly believing the same ending must return. This is evidence that healing has gone deeper. The peace being formed is not a passing emotion existing only when everything goes well. It is a steadiness that lets you know that, although life may still change, you can preserve dignity, awareness, and gentleness. The joy you are learning to receive no longer depends entirely upon what others do for you. In former days, one compliment could make you happy for an entire day, and one criticism could take all that joy away. Now you are discovering fullness in simpler things: a quiet morning, work completed with integrity, a sincere conversation, or the moment you realize that you no longer react as before. Mature joy is not laughter that never pauses. It is the ability to keep seeing what is good during imperfect days and refusing to let one difficulty cover everything worthy of gratitude. Do not believe that you must prove faithfulness in order to earn peace or blessing. My love is not a reward given only to those who endured long enough. You were loved even on your weakest days, when all you could do was continue breathing. Yet the faithfulness you preserved in the fire created within you the capacity to receive goodness without easily losing it. You learned patience, how to manage emotion, how to reflect before deciding, and how not to be blinded by outward brilliance. Therefore, when new opportunities enter, you will not only know how to receive them, you will know how to preserve, develop, and use them responsibly. The abundance into which I am leading you is not found only in money or achievements visible to the world. It also includes a rested mind, respectful relationships, cared for health, and a life no longer governed by fear of lack. Some possess much but remain anxious, unable to enjoy anything because they fear losing it. I do not want you to enter abundance with tightly closed hands. I want you to receive with gratitude, manage with wisdom, and share without using generosity to purchase affection or admiration. When more is entrusted to you, your responsibility also becomes deeper. Your words may lift someone in despair or wound them if spoken carelessly. Your presence can bring peace into a chaotic room, but only if you continue preserving humility. I do not lift you so that you can stand above others. I bring you into a wider place so that you can see more needs, open more doors, and become support for those traveling the road you once knew. Remember the days when you needed someone to listen so that you do not become shallow before another person's pain. Remember the times when you needed an opportunity so that you do not close the door upon someone trying to begin again. You do not need to prove readiness through a number, a comment, or any public ritual. I see more deeply than what the world can observe. If you want to declare that you passed through the trial, let the declaration appear in the way you live. Stop returning to places that continually drained you. Do what you postponed. Care for your body. Arrange your finances. And speak what needs to be spoken with sincerity. Stop using suffering as a measurement of value. And allow yourself to rest without guilt. These ordinary choices reveal that a new person is truly rising. My beloved child, the trial could not take away the purity within your heart. It deepened you without needing to make you cold. It made you more cautious without requiring you to close yourself. It strengthened you without turning strength into hardness. Enter the new season with all the wisdom you received. But do not carry the posture of someone still standing in the middle of battle. You do not need to remain suspicious of every joy or distrust everyone who is sincere. Give goodness the opportunity to prove itself through time. And give yourself permission to live without continually preparing for loss. From now on, live from the peace built during difficult days, when fear returns. Do not condemn yourself. Remember that it is only an echo from a former season, not the guide of your future. When emotion rises, give yourself quietness before acting. When an opportunity arrives, examine it through both faith and discernment. When you receive support, accept it without feeling that you owe pain in exchange. You pass through fire. But I do not want you forever to describe yourself as one who burned. I want you to recognize yourself as one who still preserved light, a light gentle, enduring, and warm enough to guide both you and those seeking a road out of darkness. Look directly at this reality. When you begin stepping out of former limitations, the world may attempt to pull you back toward what is familiar. Those who know only the version of you who remained silent, doubted easily, and continually made yourself smaller may feel uncomfortable with your change. They may question your choices, doubt the faith you hold, and use their limited experience to measure the road I am guiding you along. Circumstances may also become more difficult at times, not to prove that you chose wrongly, but to reveal how strong your inner foundation has become. During those moments, former voices will return, saying that you lack ability, that what you pursue is too great, or that someone who failed as you once did cannot receive a good future. But, my beloved child, do not confuse resistance with truth. A statement repeated many times can still be a lie. And a fear that followed you for years has no authority to determine who you will become. You need to recognize that darkness often tries to keep a person insecure before that person understands their own strength. It does not always need to destroy every opportunity. Sometimes it only needs to make you hesitate long enough for you to leave the opportunity yourself. It does not need to close every door. It only needs to convince you that you are unworthy to enter. Therefore, the greatest battle often does not happen outwardly, but in the way you answer the thoughts appearing when no one is near. Every time you believe you are too small, you unconsciously give authority to what once limited you. But each time you remember what you overcame, rise and take the right step while still trembling. An old chain loses more strength. The light within does not frighten darkness because it is loud, but because it endures. You passed through many things that could have made you bitter and still preserved kindness. You were made to doubt and still continued seeking truth. This is why lies could never completely possess you. I want you to wear the protection formed by truth, integrity, peace, faith, and discernment. This is not an image for you to use in fighting people, because your battle is not about searching for enemies in everyone around you. True protection helps you avoid reacting in anger to insult, prevents one rejection from making you deny your whole value, and keeps you from running into every argument in order to prove that you are right. When you know who you are, you do not need to answer every form of noise. Some schemes lose their authority the moment you refuse to participate. Some words fall to the ground when you do not carry them into your heart. Some dangerous doors are avoided simply because you remain calm enough to wait before deciding. Stand firm, not through hardness, but through the ability to preserve purity within confusion. Faith within you does not mean closing your eyes to reality or pretending difficulty does not exist. Faith means seeing the trial and refusing to let it become a prophecy over your future. It is admitting that you do not possess every answer while still doing what is right today. Faith does not live only in what you say when you feel strong. It appears in the way you act before emotion catches up. You may still feel afraid, but you refuse to let fear decide. You may not yet see the result, but you continue preparing, learning, and planting what is good. Others may not understand, but you do not betray truth merely to gain approval. This is when trust becomes practical strength, carrying your steps rather than remaining only a beautiful idea. Remember Noah, who continued doing what was entrusted, although those around him could not understand. He did not possess visible evidence sufficient to make everyone agree, but he had a deep confirmation and work to complete. While others mocked him, he quietly prepared each part. The difference was not that he argued more skillfully, but that he refused to let ridicule interrupt responsibility. You need to learn this as well. Not everyone must understand your plan before you are permitted to begin. Some dreams will appear too large to those who have never stepped beyond their own limits. Certain decisions may be right for you, while looking unreasonable to those who see only the surface. Receive wise counsel, examine reality, and remain humble. But do not give final authority to people who will not live with the consequences of your delay. This does not mean that every thought within you is guidance, or that every outward disagreement comes from darkness. I want you to mature in discernment, not live by treating everyone who disagrees as an enemy. Sometimes a warning is protection. Sometimes a closed door prevents you from entering a place that is not yet right. Sometimes your plan needs adjustment because it is not sufficiently strong. Genuine faith does not fear examination. It does not make you impulsive or unwilling to learn. Examine the fruit. Listen to trustworthy people, and consider whether the road causes you to become more upright, peaceful, and responsible. Guidance from light will not feed pride, chaos, or contempt for others. It may challenge your comfort, but it will lead toward maturity. The world may not understand your journey while everything is still being built. People often acknowledge results only after they see them, while you must move before there is applause. They may not see the nights you studied, the times you began again, or the discipline you quietly built. They see only the surface and form conclusions. But their recognition was never your primary source of strength. I saw the hidden work, the faithfulness without reward, and the times you preserved character while being treated unfairly. Let that foundation continue growing. When results appear, you do not need to use them as an answer to those who doubted. Your peaceful, responsible life and the goodness you create will become the clearest response. Your breakthrough may be closer than you think, but do not turn hope into impatience. Do not run after every invitation or believe every unsupported promise merely because you heard that a door is about to open. Continue preparing like someone who knows a new season will come while respecting the process. Refine your skills. Restore healthy habits. Care for your body. And preserve sincere relationships. When the right opportunity comes, you will not merely rejoice at being chosen. You will possess the ability to preserve, manage, and cause it to produce fruit. Waiting is not meaningless when it transforms you into someone stable enough not to destroy what you once requested. I do not require you to press a button, register, or type a number to prove faith. Your trust is not measured through interaction on a screen. And grace does not depend upon performing a ritual another person invented. The strongest declaration is how you live after this message ends. Declare through leaving a habit that weakens you. Confirm faith by completing the work you delayed. Seeking help when needed. And saying no to what continually steals peace. Let your choices speak to God. You are ready to mature. Accept responsibility and walk with discernment. My beloved child, stand firm without turning firmness into conflict with everyone. Protect purpose while preserving softness of heart. Believe in what is good ahead, but do not stop examining, preparing, and acting responsibly. Lies possess strength only while you continue agreeing with them. Each day, you can choose another voice, the voice reminding you that you are permitted to learn, permitted to grow, and permitted to enter the future without being defined by the past. I was beside you during the days when you doubted yourself, and I remain here as you learn to walk with courage. Move forward in truth, because you do not need the world to understand today. What matters is that you no longer turn away from the light, ability, and responsibility I placed within you.